Hello, 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 and welcome to season 4, episode 12 of We Are With Ro. I have my co-host, of course, Rob Smith, and special guest today, Odette Fleming. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Great.
Okay.
Doing fantastic.
There you go. There you go. Okay. All this melanin on one screen. I love it. I love it.
I'm excited.
So we're doing the movie The 6888 that was on Netflix a couple weeks ago by Tyler Perry. So I wanted to have a woman's influence, a black woman's influence on this to really feel the vibe and see what we do. But before we go there, I wanted to go into what has everybody been up to? You know, I haven't seen you since New Year's. Odie, I haven't seen you since you came down to Miami a long time ago. So how is everybody's Christmas and New Year's? Anything new? New Year's resolutions that you're trying to live out or anything? Or how you doing? It's now the 22nd. Have you been sticking to it?
I'll let our guest go first.
Oh, that's zero.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So for New Year's, my resolution really is to stop, not to start. So it is to stop stopping. So
I like that.
All right. So instead of stopping myself from doing things, saying things, experiencing things, I have decided to be in go mode. So that's
Okay.
I
like that.
I have a saying, I ain't taking no jive in 25.
Okay. Hey.
I'm gonna have to put that on my vision board.
I know, right?
25.
That's right.
All right. Rob, hit me up.
I mean, I haven't made any resolutions. I feel like every time I do that, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done that in so long. Maybe I should get back into doing it. But I've made a commitment to finishing a few things that I've started, which is kind of what you said. I got to stop stopping. I have a couple of scripts that I've outlined or started writing, and I've made a commitment to finishing those. I need to get them done. I'm a person who always works out. So I started a boxing class before the year ended. I started a boxing class in like November. So I've continued to do that. I'm going to carry that the new year, but I also still go to the gym like 5 times a week. But so working out is not new to me, but I did add a boxing class to it, which it's been exciting. It's a like new energy and I'm really enjoying it. And it's a new community of people too. So just meeting a new group of people and bringing that new energy into my world has been great. But I have a lot of other stuff going on too, but we'll get to that.
All right, cool. I usually do sober January. So this is my, I think, 13th and 14th year of my life doing this.
Okay.
So it has its ups and downs because what happens is you wind up just substituting the alcohol with sugar and other crap. So then you have to do a cutoff by the 15th so you don't have any more sugar in your body. So and then you're just grumpy and not fun. So yeah, that's my New Year's thing.
What's your go-to sugar that you crave?
So my girlfriend likes to order the sugar like sticks, like the chewy kind of. It's not a Twizzler, but one of those old school. She orders these things, and I tell her all the time, don't order these things. Or at least if you order them, hide them. And then she doesn't do it. She leaves out in plain sight, and then you'll see me like I'm like a crackhead. There's like rappers in places that you don't even know. She's like, what's wrong with you? Why do you just have to consume like everything? I was like, because I need it out of the house. That's me. Yeah, I can't do like ice cream cookies. Like, get it out of the house. I don't get any of that. I don't. I like when I was poor. You know when you're poor, you have a budget, and you're like, you know what? I can't afford those things right now.
Well, these days ice cream is like $7.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Good stuff is really expensive.
That can of tuna diet, you're in shape.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Like I missed the days I was doing no alcohol because I couldn't afford alcohol, and on top of that, I couldn't afford a good meal. So hey, I was really lean. But I digress. Other things have been going on. Unfortunately, the fires have been crazy on the West Coast. Rob is in between that, but luckily his place is still there, and he's actually able to stay home. Tell me how that's been for you. You know what? This frustrates me sometimes because I remember COVID, and I remember I went out and I visited friends, and I got to see the true experience versus what I saw in the news. So this is why I like hearing what really is going on in LA? How you feeling? How's everything? What did you think was going on when it first happened? give us an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, well, I'm used to us having a season every year where we experience like some fires. They're usually a little bit further out. So like here in the mix of it all, we usually don't experience like an evacuation circumstance. I'm literally in Hollywood. This is the first time I was on the phone with my family and they were like, "Hey, are you safe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, unfortunately the Pacific Palisades, which is, a pretty wealthy community, and the Eden Fire, which is Altadena, which there's like a big like historic Black community that burned down there." And I was like, those are both kind of far away from me, but I am like surrounded by fires. And I had flown back into LA that day and I flew through it. And then when I landed, got home and I was on the phone with my family, I got an evacuation notice because the fire started in the Hollywood Hills near like Runyon Canyon area, which is not far from me. And this was the first time that I've had that experience. It was very surreal where you're like, okay, let me throw a few things in a bag and the potential of everything else that is valuable to me could be gone when I get back. It's kind of a scary feeling. But made the best of it and huddled with some friends for the night who were a little bit further outside of it. And now here we are again. There's another fire starting today. So I just really like, what the interesting part is, I feel like a lot of community has developed in Los Angeles. A lot of really close friends of mine have pulled together and have been doing a lot of community service. There's been like a lot of people donating things that they, clothes, food, water, just anything they could, pet supplies, baby supplies, anything they could to make life easier for the people who were displaced by the fire. So you can feel the sense of like community. And I think people were in a state of shock for that first week. And now it's just a sense of like support and kind of love for community here. So it's been a great experience to see people kind of pull together and like step up for people around them who were in need.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers, man, to everybody out there, especially to the firemen and women that have been fighting this and just trying to deal with all that stuff. It reminds me of when I lived in LA. I remember my roommate at the time, he was like, "Yo, you got an earthquake kit, like a bag?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Man, you need to have a bag ready for that." And so it reminded me, like, nothing prepares you for something like that. Mentally, you're just like, I could have whatever I want. Like, what am I going to, I don't know what I'm going to lose or what's the most important to me, right? Is the painting behind you? Is it like this valuable thing that a parent gave me or this item of, I think at the end of the day, it's just safety, but who am I to say that? People have value in different ways. But it was very interesting, but I'm glad you're safe. I remember we were going to do a show actually that week and you're like, bro, they just moved me out of my house. So that was crazy. So anything you want to add to that, Odie?
Well, what I would say is, or ask, do you feel as though the sense of community is stronger because there was almost like a backlash from those people that were outside of the community?
I think,
yeah,
I think that's definitely part of it. I think you hear it became so politicized and it kind of lost a sense of concern and care for the people who were actually living through it. And then the narrative became, oh, those are rich people, so who cares? But the fires touched so many people who aren't just the homeowners in the Pacific Palisades. They're the people who, service those people, the gardeners who all of their clients were in that community, the small businesses that burned down in that community, the restaurants that were patronized, all the people who were employed by those restaurants, all the people who were employed by the grocery stores and the small businesses that burned down. So it had a wide-reaching effect, not just the rich people who lived in those homes. And again, like, that doesn't mean that those people losing all of the things that are valuable and important to them don't matter. And people lost their lives. So it was like, it was very sad to see this narrative being created in a world that we already live in that's extremely polarized from a political perspective. So that was sad. So I think that did play a part in people in LA coming together and saying, you know what, we're going to be here for each other and we're going to do what we can for each other. So I think that sense of community did grow from that. So it was good to see.
Yeah, one last thing I want to add to that is I had to check a couple of church people because they're like, "Oh, this is God's work." And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, how, man, that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
If that's a God you're worshiping, you need to change your lifestyle, man. That really irked me in so many ways because that was my home for a little bit. And regardless of where it was like, you're trying to tell me that that's Mother Nature. It's a lot of stuff going on. The world is changing everything, But to say that's God's work, woo!
Yeah, that was somebody sent me something from the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
And so the lady on the Golden Globes during her whatever, when she was walking through the audience talking, she said she was doing some sort of countdown, and then she said mentions of God 0, of course, in this godless town, right?
Yeah.
And so they were sending that as like they just said it's a godless town and now it's on fire. And I was like, that is not the God that we serve.
Exactly.
So that was, yeah, it was disconcerting. And I thought that particularly because the person that it came from, you know what I mean? And I was just like, really? Yeah.
Yeah. And when I kept hearing that same narrative too, I'm like, well, we weren't having this conversation when, there was devastation in Hawaii from fire. I was like, the conversation was much different. And I think we need to like pay attention to why we're framing narratives in the way that we're framing them. And again, it's very political. And I was like, it's unfortunate that people are taking what they hear and carrying it. So it was sad to see that. And again, like when people were saying that to me, I'm like, well, pump the brakes. I'm like, you have to realize people who have perished in these fires. And a lot of the people that perished, like in the Eden fire, were elderly Black people, or there was the gentleman who stayed back because his son was disabled and he didn't want to leave him. So like these are people who are outside of the narrative that you're creating about who is dying in these fires. So it was unfortunate to hear people saying that, because those families also have to hear these narratives being spun.
Right.
And that's a good transition to politics. What has happened recently? New president. We've had him before. I can't believe this man has been in office. Again, these are going to be my views, not blackfilm.com's views. But we have a new president in office. The inauguration was the other day, and now we have President Trump in office again. Biden is out, and you can already feel the energy. Through the media, just through the people that voted for him having some regret. What did you feel about the turn of power, everybody? And are you excited?
Okay, so I'm going to start right there. Okay. All right. So honestly,
give me a bit of the doubt. No. Okay. All right.
I'm just going to give you a peek into what my day looked like on Monday. On Monday, I woke up and I turned on the commemorative celebration of MLK's life that takes place at Ebenezer Baptist Church. It's streamed live. I watched it until it was completed, and then went on to watch National Action Network commemoration of MLK, which they did live in the Metropolitan AME Church. They had actually bussed into DC to celebrate MLK as a juxtaposition of the events taking place. And so that was me. And then I found one of those kind of like an animated picture that like plays music in the background. And I just listen.
You're avoiding viewing this as much as you could. That's what you're saying.
Soft jazz for the rest of the day.
Love that. Protect your peace.
Yes. Yes.
How about you, Rob?
I mean, my experience was slightly different, only because I turned the TV on and I said, I'm not going to watch. I don't want to stress myself out. But every single channel was playing it. Of course, I was like, okay. So it was silently on in the background. But then, the information continuously is popping up. So you see it. I was very disappointed to see the sense of decorum that did not exist with the crowd that was there, booing people, a former president like Barack Obama, booing the Clintons. I mean, you can have your, dislike for these people, but they served our country. And to honor them when they walk in the room, just honor them silently. If you don't want to honor them, just stay silent. If you want to honor them, cheer for them. But to boo them, to me, was just a level of disrespect that this country has moved to that is very telling and is disappointing. And then, for this to be a circumstance, for example, Michelle Obama chose to sit this out, which she had prior obligations. Donald Trump didn't even show up to the inauguration to hand over power in the previous time. So the narrative that was spun about Michelle Obama and people who couldn't show up, to me, was ridiculous and absurd. And again, we turn this into this nightmare conversation when it should have just been a day to hand over power and move on peacefully. And the unfortunate part is the entirety of his conversation in both of his speeches that he gave were the election was stolen from me last time. I had a bigger crowd. It was the same story over and over again. And I was like, how many times do we have to hear this? So it was really disappointing. And then to see all of the executive orders being signed that are just taking this country backwards in such a massive way. These are my opinions. Again, they're my opinions. But for, again, like signing away the 1965 anti-discrimination bill today that prevents discrimination on the place of race, gender, or sexuality has now been overturned by the current president, like taking us back 6 years.
Can they do? I don't think that can be overturned by an executive order.
He's going to try, but him writing the executive order to do it is setting a precedent. The same way he's, halting DEI programs and threatening to
that he can do,
to stop funding to companies who continue with DEI programs. Like, for example, Apple's like, we're going to continue with it because it works for our business, and all the threats to the companies that choose to continue those practices. It's just insane to me. So it's just been like a roller coaster of insanity for 2 days, which was expected because this is what he said he was going to do. But it's unfortunate because all of the things that people were voting for, which is, oh, I want my eggs to be cheaper, or which I don't really think that's why they voted that way. That was just a scapegoat.
Couldn't even find eggs when I went to Trader Joe's today. There was no eggs at all.
Can I tell you why though? Because the bird flu.
Yeah. So we're gonna get this guy again when another disease is gonna go around. And you know what happened last time? Like people.
And you saw what happened today. They told all of the health agencies that they're no longer allowed to report on any information pertaining to like any viruses or the bird flu specifically. I think they're holding out any information being released until March because they know that what's happening, but now the agencies have all been told not to share any details. So it's just insanity that we're just living in crazy times. But
listen, my people and Black and brown folks especially, take care of yourself, your health. I'm telling you, because it's gonna be a crazy couple of years. Hopefully there's only 4. But if your health isn't in shape, because I don't know what he's gonna do with all the next stuff, you might not have health care after this.
This is what I was saying, and again, so I will say this is my opinion, not the opinion of blackfilm.com. I was like, who needs to watch the news? Just go print out the 900-page book if you read. Because all he's going to do is run that play, because really and truly he's just the egomaniacal figure that they rode the coattails in on. You know what I mean? They were like, oh yeah. So it was not anything like, oh, these aren't his ideas. He just wants to be famous again and be able to get money. So they're not. You think he sat down and thought of policy ideas? He's
not one bit. Not one bit. That's a good idea. All right, like it. Check.
Right. Yeah.
Last thing I'll ask: Elon Musk. Did he salute or not salute?
He absolutely did that horrible salute. Absolutely, without a doubt. If someone is giving their heart, you usually do this. I mean, that's the standard.
I mean, I wasn't born in South Africa. I don't know. May have it different.
People from Europe were in the YouTube clip saying here in Europe, he would have been arrested for that.
Oh yeah. I've been
okay.
Listen, and that's the problem. I don't know the person I'm quoting, but they made an excellent point. When you go to Germany, and I had friends in Germany I visit, they're like, they don't play about that. They don't play at all. You're not going to see any of that stuff because they educate it. And the problem what didn't happen in America, the civil rights movement happened, but all you did was say, take the signs out of the window. You never said, hey, this is the reasons why you need to take the signs and why we need held accountable. So just like Trump going into office again, he was never held accountable. And so this keeps on going on because there's no accountability. Everybody's hypocritical too. At the same time, it's like, we have to go by the high road over and over and over again, and they can do whatever they want. So it's like, guys, you can't have it both ways. Like you can be upset about, oh, the voting, it was stolen from me. The election was stolen from me. I'm like, but where's your proof? And so the fact that no one held him accountable, that's crazy and maniacal at the same time. So I'm really nervous about where this is going to go, because now you have social media is controlled now by people that he knows. So what do? Listen, someone wants to start a new media. This is your time to start Black businesses, get things going, because we need outlets for our voices and what's actually going to be heard. Because if you look at all the votes, TikTok and X and all that stuff, it's us that are putting the best content out there that people are watching. So what are we doing?
Isaac Hayes III started fanbase.com in 2019. And so I heard it's kind of clunky. It's not the most like seamless, but it was created for content creators to be able to stream their content for like subscriptions or whatever. And you can also invest in the company. So if people are interested, I haven't completed my sign up yet, but I'm on what's the one with the butterfly, Blue Sky. So I'm on Blue Sky. but
it sounds like too many pages. Like I haven't completed it yet.
What?
I have 15 more
No,
pages.
well, here's the thing, because for me, like, some people will just put their first and last name, and that's on all social media. John Smith on all social media. Yeah, that's not me. So I've got to come up with a little name, right? So so it takes me a minute, and so half of the time, my cute little name is taken. So whatever. So I got to keep playing around till I finish. But on Blue Sky, though, from what I understand, you own your kind of little segment of the community that you create. Oh, nice. So I think that's pretty unique as well. But yeah, so for me, it's like YouTube and Blue Sky at this point in time. My best friend just called me today and was like, I just deleted my Facebook page. Can you please go on and check and make sure that I'm not there? I'm like, okay.
hey, I had to unfollow Snoop the other day. So, I had to double check. As a host, man.
It's so much. It's just a lot.
All right. Let's move right along.
We have a @Black Film account on both Blue Sky and Fanbase. So we have accounts there. We have not officially, got them curated to make sure that they fit the aesthetic of the rest of our pages, but they are there.
Excellent. Grab the name while you can. Yeah. Hey. Just saying.
Don't change. Hey, you got a month or two. It's gonna be crazy. All right. So getting right into this, we're doing the movie on Netflix called 688, written and directed by Tyler Perry, based on the book by Kevin M. Heimels, 2019 novel Fighting a Two-Front War. This movie takes place in World War II. This is a story about the battalion of Black women that, against all odds, managed to sort out over 17 million pieces of mail in under 90 days with little or no help from the government. This is starring the amazing Kerry Washington. She knocked this performance out the box. What I normally do, Odette, because it's your first time here, I usually give a cap of what the movie's about, and then I say my 2 cents on it, and then I ask what you guys think. So Tyler Perry sometimes is hit or miss on films, and I love when he hits it. He really knocks it out of the box, and this is one of his great films. He really did this story justice. I will have some complaints at the end. We'll go over a little bit of that, but there's little things but overall, I really love the film. I love the cast and everything about this. Did any of you guys know anything about this story before that? I mean, the only thing I remember is when Michelle Obama gave the remaining women, gave them awards, but I didn't really know that much of the story. Did anybody else know anything about that?
I literally had learned about Charity Adams in Veterans Day of 2024. So
wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, recent. A good friend of mine. Yeah, very recent. And a friend of mine, she's a Delta, and they had done like a salute to the veterans. And so Charity Adams was one of them, and it had a little story about what she did. And then like 2 weeks later, I saw the trailer and I was like, woo, all right. So I get to see the story. So I was excited about that.
So let me just cut in right here. Charity Adams, played by Kerry Washington, was the country's highest-ranking African-American female officer during the World War II. Couldn't really move anywhere either in this film, in terms of her rank. So it's just like, hey, I have a rank, but when a white officer comes on deck, doesn't matter what rank they are, she's still lower. So that was very interesting, that dynamic. Rob, you want to add something there?
What?
Not to what I just said, but just in general of the.
Oh, okay, got it. I was going to add something later in direct connection to that statement. But in regards to me actually knowing about the film, I was not aware of it until I did a write-up on blackfilm.com about this film being produced by Tyler Perry, which I was very happy to hear. And I've mentioned this before on this show, like especially with, as we just talked about, the political climate of where we're going in this country. I think it's so imperative that we cement the story of Black people, especially Black people who have unique stories of history and heritage in this country. And when we cement them in film and in writing, they can't deny that it happened. So I'm so excited that Tyler Perry embarked upon this journey and created this film, because it's such a phenomenal and beautiful story that needed to be told.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. These stories, people get frustrated, especially Black folks, like, I don't want to see another slave movie. I don't want to see this, So I love that this is another story that happened, and it showed how brilliant Black women are, let alone Black people. And I love that we have Odette on here today, because I want to ask you, how does it feel to be a Black woman in America today? And what was the vibe you got? Like, did you put yourself in her shoes? Because I sometimes will put myself in that character. It's harder as a woman to, hey, I can't put myself in a woman's shoes. I can imagine what it's like. But what did you do? What's your vibe when you watch a film like this?
So I've never been in the military. However, I have been in positions where, as a matter of fact, we worked together at the American Stock Exchange.
We did.
We did. And so one of the things is that people doubt you all the time. And so being a Black woman whether in a position of power or just a position of authority or knowledge, there's always going to be an other who's going to doubt you. So one of the things that I could relate to was the colonel. I believe he was a colonel, the one who basically was like, you all haven't done anything. Look at this place. Oh, you have time for a beauty shop. Oh, you have. And so I felt like they could have done a better job of expressing the fact that the reason they put all of those things there is because the soldiers, not soldiers, but the ladies from the auxiliary were not allowed to use the white women's facilities. So therefore, that's why they had to, in real life, that's why they had to put like the beauty salon and all those things inside of the areas that they were working. But with regard to my personal life, just understanding the fact that you can be 1,000% correct and give the exact right answer, and somebody else is going to come behind you and go ask someone from the other side to confirm that you're right, even though you know that you're right. And this is the year of our Lord 2025. It still has not changed. so there's that.
Shout out to Odie holding me down back then when I worked at the stock exchange. I blew through money like nobody's business. I would get my check on Friday. It was gone on Monday, and I would
That's
ask
why you were poor, bro.
I would ask to borrow $20 by Tuesday to get lunch. I had to spread that out. Back then, you got paid every week. But that check was gone every Monday morning. She was like, really?
That is so true.
That's thank you, Odie, back in the day. Holding me down.
All right. See, Black women.
Woo! Yeah, hey, that's what I said. Black women.
Yes.
She side-eyed me as she gave me the money.
So
you had those $20 back, bro.
No, of course. I gave it to the next paycheck. I was deducted out of that check. I got it. I said, where's my money?
And then borrow it again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But seriously though, with the film, what you just said, Rob, is so true, because we, I think, now have to hold ourselves accountable as the truth tellers. Because in social media, we're moving into a time of life when we won't be able to believe our own eyes. So, or our own ears, right? So between AI and AI and all of that sort of thing, like, we have to be the ones that tell and hold the truth about what our experience is in this country. So what it has been and what it continues to be.
Amen. That's truth. So in this story, what's going on is we see there's actually a love story that's in this as well that starts the film. And so I kind of like that balance. There's actually like 3 other movies, in this movie. So I kind of like how Tyler does that sometimes. He's like, I could actually see a film with this. I could see a film with that. What's the young lady's name? Sorry, I'm trying to find her.
Character or the actress?
Ebony.
Oh, Obsidian. I love that name. I'm like, I know your mom didn't name you that.
That was going to be a tough one on me. I was going to try.
Yes.
Woo! I almost had a stroke there. Obsidian.
So ebony is the black bark wood, right? And obsidian is a what you call it? It's a crystal. It's a black stone.
Being educated today.
There it is. I love it.
See, a lot of people don't know that. We educate you here too. Okay. All right. I knew ebony was the wood. I didn't know about the obsidian and the rock. Okay. But she was a young recruit who skips college and joins the army after losing her boyfriend in the war. So she's a black woman dating a white man in a time that is not the time to do it. And so they're in this love connection. He's going to write her. Her parents or her mom wants her to go to college. They can't afford to send her to college, but just trying to keep her hopes up and maybe just find a new path. And she gets a letter in the mail, which kind of interesting. She gets a letter in the mail when no one else is getting letters in the mail. But anyway, that's a whole other story. That's a contradiction of the movie, I think. But anyway, she got a right. How did you get a letter in the mail when no one's getting mail? What the?
The official mail was going through. It was the family mail that wasn't going through.
Family mail wasn't going through official mail. So she got official mail from the love of her life. Sorry, you're right. Because she finds his personal letter later. Okay, yes. So the mail going out informing a loved one that, hey, your loved one has died in war or in battle. And so she finds out. It crushes her, demoralizes her. But what does she decide to do? You know what? I'm going to enlist in the army. Okay. Anyway, and so we follow her journey in the army, and then that's when we meet the rest of these amazing black women that kind of show us how it was. They show them at camp and when they actually get the job. Now, someone that shines. The cast is amazing. When I tell you, I don't know how they got Oprah in here. Now, Oprah plays Mary McLeod Bethune. Yes. I knew nothing about this woman in my life.
Oh my gosh, really?
What? Yeah. Well, okay. Gee, whoa, relax. I'm sorry, she just found out about what's name last week. What are you talking about? You at me about Bethune?
What? Because I mean, there's Mary a whole school named after her.
She's one of the black people that they accept us learning about.
Went to white Catholic school my whole life. Okay. Do you know what Black History Month was? It was 2 weeks. All right, people.
Oh, they went back to the original because the original was 2 weeks.
2 week plan. You were lucky you got 2 weeks.
Nice.
And it was the same black folks. It was MLK. It was my girl on the bus and the cotton gin.
Not my girl on the bus. You talking about
girl on the bus?
I know Rosa. I'm just saying my girl on the bus. And then and then they had the cotton gin. How important that was for black folks. I was like, what? That was
expand their curriculum there now.
Hey, Catholic school is different. It's different out there in New York. Anyway, but she founded the National Council of Negro Women, was an educator, philanthropist, and humanitarian. And she was in the ear of Eleanor Roosevelt, which I had no idea. How do you get friends with Eleanor Roosevelt? You know what? And that's why black women, once again, are amazing. You in the ear of Eleanor Roosevelt. That is crazy. That was the biggest thing for me. Played by Susan Sarandon. She did a great job too. It was small roles. So I love the small roles. Their takes. Again, I could see them. Why don't we have a movie about Mary McLeod Bethune? Have you ever heard a movie about? No. Their relationship. That's a side movie too. They did a movie. They did a short. What was that? They did the three women. They did Ford, Obama, and Kennedy. Remember they did it was like a 3-part series.
No.
And they did all the no one's with me. Okay.
Well, who's the they? Where'd they do it on History Channel?
It was on one of these shows, but they did 3 of the first wives, and they did because she did the she was an alcoholic, so they did her. That's played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Remember Michelle Pfeiffer played.
Mm-hmm. No, I know Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't remember her playing.
No, but she
played.
One
I think about who's the alcoholic was Dan Quayle's wife.
No, but what's the name? The Ford Clinic, and so she did
Betty Ford. Betty Ford.
She played Betty Ford. Mm-hmm. What's the name played Michelle Obama, and remember she got flack because the Michelle Obama take was really bad. No, okay, I'm gonna find it. We'll get it later.
Yeah, you're gonna have to drop that into somebody's chat when you find it.
It looks like it was called The First Ladies.
Yes, it was The First Ladies. It was on what's the name? Yeah, and who's the best black actress right now? What's her name?
Carrie.
Who?
I said Carrie. Oh, are you talking about
Viola Davis? Yeah, remember Viola Davis? And they got on her because she tried to do the laugh of Michelle Obama, and it was god awful, like the way she did the accent and everything of Michelle. No, we don't remember this. First lady.
Well, how would Viola Davis play Michelle Obama? She's
Again,
like,
because her arms were jacked at the time. They were saying Michelle was jacked, and that just made sense.
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
she played Michelle Obama. Michelle Pfeiffer played Betty Ford, and then someone else played another Eleanor Roosevelt, the girl from FBI show back in the day, the Aliens show.
Jennifer Garner?
British actress. No, British actress. She played another one.
Michelle George?
Yeah. And so she played.
Melissa George? Is it Melissa George?
I think Eleanor Roosevelt. Yeah, she played Eleanor Roosevelt. So
Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson. There you go.
Oh, well, I was
From X-Files. From X-Files.
Oh, X-Files. Well, that's different.
Yeah, sorry. The red. Woo! Sorry, everybody. We got it though. We got it.
We got there.
We went all the way around. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they played all the first ladies, and so my point of that coming up, what Tyler Perry does so well, it's like I wanted to learn more about these characters, and that's the one knock I had. It was so short. It was like, oh, this was a pivotal woman who really changed, who got the 688 to actually take on this task. How did she get this done? Like they briskly go over the relationship between her and Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm like, I think that's important, right? Especially at that time.
Well, actually, so there was a mother. Remember, there was that mom that stood outside every night, and she caught the heart of Eleanor Roosevelt. And then maybe she and Eleanor and blah, blah, blah were having tea or something. And she was like, well, what about the women of the 688 or whatever?
Yeah.
Because there was the Black Women's Army Corps. It just
it didn't get any work.
They never got any work. And so they were complaining that they never got orders.
And that was crazy to see the lady, like back in the day, you could stand outside the White House and someone's going to let you in.
I mean, she just kept seeing her standing there. She was looking out the window.
But again, that's how slow it was back then. They're like, no, there's this lady just randomly standing outside the house. Maybe we should let her in and see what's going on.
No, but she was out there for like a week or 2 weeks.
But I love the black guy. He's like, you sure? You sure you want to
stay? She's like, she's still out there, even in the rain. Or like, why is she standing out there with no umbrella?
Right. So, yeah. But that's how this came to fruition of us finding out what was going on. And Eleanor Roosevelt is confronted by this woman that's standing outside of the White House and saying, hey, we're not getting the mail. She's like, what are you talking about? You're not getting the mail? It's like, and so not knowing the importance of the mail at the time, I was like, it's just mail. I was like, no. But that moves these guys. These guys are fighting a war. They want to feel they're missing home. They're missing everything that makes them feel like a part of something. And you're meeting this camaraderie amongst the guys you're working with, but you still miss home, right? So what's the closest thing to apple pie or your favorite soda drink or just listening or dancing is getting a letter from a loved one and knowing that, hey, everything's okay, still here. We miss you. We care about you. Come home safely. And then, all right, I pick up my gun and go into war now because I know I have this back, these people behind me. So that was huge. And I love that was a huge part of the story that moved me. And I was like, wow, I never thought about it because my uncle Edward, rest his peace, he was in the war. He was in Vietnam. And, just to hear his story and, how he got out of that, because that was crazy. Survival rate was crazy on that. So just knowing what any soldier had to go through and endure. And so to see that positive energy, what I needed to kind of get me through day to day. Otherwise, I'm just seeing bomb, bomb, bomb. And that kind of puts in perspective, even full circle about what you're seeing now in LA. It's like imagine like places that or knew, and they're just decimated and gone, and what's that memory to you? What is that? How does that feel, that vibe? And what do you have to kind of hold you down? Your family, your friends kind of keeping you going. So that was I think a very moving part in the film. What any moving parts for you guys that really wow, this I felt what these women were going through, or like just was a great part of the film that kind of shined for you?
Yeah, for me, I would say one thing that stood out to me is even though these women were very, very near to an active war zone, they did not have to show the violence and horror of that war. The story was more about the dedication, the compassion, and the drive that these women had to being committed to the journey of the task that was ahead of them. And I love that they laid out the story in a way that we saw this was a mission that had been given to others before. Even the white female battalion had been given this mission before, and no one could get it done. It was a task that was considered like kind of a failed mission, or a mission that they were destined to fail. And these women came in and it did it in a time window that was so short. But the way that they came together and they were committed and they were dedicated and they worked tirelessly to get it done was, I thought that was a beautiful way of telling the story. Even though we did see some moments where they, like, you know, had to shelter in place when, you know, bombs were being dropped around the building that they had occupied, or we saw them lose a couple of soldiers who were on the road who ended up driving over an IUD. Like, we see those moments, but for the majority of the film, I love that we got to see the grit and the hard work and the dedication that the women put into being the best that they could be in this battalion.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they, for me, the biggest thing was the time frame and the efficiency. So the fact that they were able to create the 3 8-hour shifts, and remember when the colonel or whomever that came through, Mr. Doubting Thomas, and
Dean Norris, played by Dean Norris, General in Command.
General, right? And he came in and was like, "What do you mean they're sleeping?" And she was like, "They're the night shift, right? So they're the next shift, so they're asleep." And he's trying to go in the bath. They're in the shower, and she's like, "No, they're on the, you know, they're coming off shift. Like, they're taking a shower. You can't go in there." And so, I think the efficiency and the ingenuity that was demonstrated, even in the way that they were able to get the task done by, like, figuring out the names, the nicknames, and how they were going to separate and, you know, every step of the way, this general was doubting and saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's ridiculous." So when it all, like, came together and they got it done in half as much time, I was like, that's right. That's how we do. You know, that the ingenuity is there. Just recently, I've been watching, there's this guy, not that I've been watching, but I've seen him a couple times, and he talks about the importance of HBCUs to our cell phones. I don't know if you've seen him. He's just like a short guy, like a white guy with little white blonde hair. And he talks about the fact, like, GPS was discovered or created or whatever by a Black woman. I want to say she was at Tennessee State University. There was the screen, the way that the screens work, was created by another Black woman. You know, so he does this thing where he goes around and he talks at, like, podcasts and HBCUs and stuff, and just talks about the importance of our ingenuity to technology and how we're able to even use this technology today based on, you know, these people that were in HBCUs in the 60s and 70s and whatever. So I think that all of that, just this movie, you know, kind of dovetails right into that in terms of shining a light on the fact that when given the hardest task, we're going to get it done. So,
yeah, and to add to that, Dean Norris, man, I hated him. He was such an asshole. But it was crazy. He's like, "Why are you going through this mail?" And I felt that so deep, because it was as if you're seeing white secrets, right? And you don't need to know what goes on in this world, right? And I was like, how are we going? Excuse my friend. How are we going to find out who this goes to? Open the mail. It was like I mean, I want to know. I would have gone crazy. Like, so you basically tied our hands, right? You locked the door. You can put a bag over our head and said, "Find your way out." I'm like, come on, like there was no way to win, and they won, and that was just crazy to me. It's like the perseverance of these women. I mean, I was done, honestly, but halfway in the middle, I was like, you know what? I ain't got time for this, you know.
And that was probably the most powerful moment in the film, which I think they did a good job building up to, which was when all of the white soldiers recognized who they were and were grateful to them, because they had been waiting so long to hear from their family and their loved ones, and they saw these Black women and they saw them as soldiers, and they no longer saw them as like the others. They saw them as a valuable part of that community, and they saluted. So that to me was like the perfect way to wrap up, like to put a bow on and like really show the power of what those women did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautifully done there, and also the budget. I mean, I guess Tyler got a budget because there was like an actual war scene in the beginning of the movie. I was like, okay, we got some money, Tyler. We got legit budget, right? No, sometimes you'll get somebody in the corner like pew pew. Things exploding.
Not the pew pew.
Hey, have you seen some of these films? Hey, buddy, you couldn't put a budget in to look at another battle scene?
Yeah, no, it's a BB gun.
It was a legit budget. I like that.
Yeah.
To add on to what you said earlier, that the soldiers that died in the car. I'm sorry, Rob. The soldiers that died in the car. That was crazy to me that the government wouldn't pay for their funerals. And so they're letting together that. So it's like, how do you fight for somebody that never makes you feel like you belong to them? You're putting your time, your heart, sweat, tears, and all that, and it's just like you don't get appreciated at all. And so that was the hardest for me to watch. Like, we always you ever have that joke with your friends, like, could you survive during slavery times? And it's like, man, I wouldn't be a slave and all that stuff. I'm like, I was meant to be born in this time period. I'm this every time. I don't see myself living more than 2 minutes. So
I was talking to somebody the other day about Harriet Tubman, right?
Yeah.
And we were just talking about the fact that I recognize, like looking at some of the things that we see in the present world, I recognize why she traveled with a shotgun. Because there was going to be people that were, and I'm talking about us, that were going to try and change their mind and go back and lead them directly to the rest of the people. And she was like, when we start going, we're going. If you're not coming, you're dying. And so I felt that, you know what I mean? It
needs to be a darker Harriet Tubman. They made like an edgier, like dark. Like I need like, you walking out like, damn, Harry was gangster.
She was though. But you think about how many times she went back and forth and freed people and went back and got relatives.
I'm doing Harriet. We doing one time. That's it.
Like I'm in freedom land. I'm done. No, so yeah,
I'm out. We good. We going. Imagine your team. Yo, we're gonna go back one more. Not today. No, Harry, you crazy.
You have to watch out for that shotgun she had, bro.
Right.
I'm not going back, Harry. I'm sorry, baby girl.
So that whole, and I think part of it too, like just thinking about the 92, like I don't know if you all are familiar. I know Black women have been talking about the 92%. A lot. So I don't know if Black men are aware when they say the 92%. So 92% of the voting bloc of Black women voted for Vice President Harris. So former vice. Oh, I'm sorry. Woo.
I convinced three white people to vote for Kamala.
So, but the long
saying I think I did a little bit of my job, but I got three. I got three people that were literally on the fence. I got 3 people that were on the fence.
Okay, that's your job. Not the ones that we're gonna vote anyway. But
they were like,
I will say though,
I'm like,
but the white female voting bloc was like 40%, I want to say, for Harris. But we're not going to talk about any of that. But the 92%. So the whole premise is like after election day is like, we are tired. We're sitting back. We're sipping tea. We ain't doing nothing. I knew it wasn't going to last. But, it was a nice little break though.
No, but social media's been pretty good about. Seeing Black women constantly saying, "Hey."
No, I know. I'm just saying it ain't gonna last.
This ain't us. And I'm like, I love that energy.
Last.
It's hard to. Again, when you're a hard worker and you always want to make sure that your people are being treated right, you're not going to stray too far from that, right?
Exactly.
But I love that energy, though. It's like it's not our fight. It will be our fight at some point again.
Right.
But honestly, if it only lasts 4 years, I
don't know why you keep saying that. Did you not hear when the man said, just vote this one time? We got it fixed up so good you'll never have to vote again? Did y'all miss that part?
I'm saying midterms. I think with the craziness that's happening already and with the craziness that will ensue, I sincerely hope a lot of these people are going to be like, I made a big mistake, and then they're going to vote the right way in midterms.
But you're assuming that those votes,
Robbie. No, Robbie, you're so
he's right. He's right. But okay, so I'm gonna.
He's not.
Yeah,
You know
I know
what?
these are my opinions only.
People don't want to admit that they've effed up.
But it's not even that.
No,
I know
guess
what
where
it
the
is.
ego is.
What am I going to say?
He wants to install himself as a dictator, so there's no need to continue an election process.
But here's the thing. This is the part, y'all. So in his rally on Sunday night, he stood up and only one sister I saw carry this piece of news on YouTube. He stood up in front of his rally and said that we were in the swing states, we were doing XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Elon came in and, he knows all about the computers and the voting, whatever machines. So, hey, we won Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like, who says that? And then he said something else again, like a second time about the voting machines and that they helped. And so now they won. So I'm like, is that not an admission that they did something that didn't make sense? Because anyway, I'm not going to get into the numbers. It's a whole.
No, I'm with you on it. And the unfortunate part is we are where we are, and it's
right.
Unless
so that's why I was like, just drop it.
Unless there's some, massive investigation and report that comes out, but with the circumstance as it is, there will be no
it's not going to
happen because he controls the FBI now. Since the FBI director stepped down, he controls the House, he controls the Senate, he controls the Supreme Court, he controls the White House. So at this point, it's just like we got to.
It's more than 4 years, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you, right? What I'm telling you is that in the midterm, we'll be lucky if we get 3% of the vote, because it's going to be a real landslide. They're going to be like, oh, well, our landslide wasn't a real landslide last time, so we're going to make it a real. So they're going to be in there playing with the votes. Y'all don't understand. We need to go back to. No, y'all are too young to remember, but the movie Recount, if you get a chance to watch, with Al Gore, when Al Gore lost to Bush, and they were like,
well,
I remember, I was
they were right, and so they're recounting
what's the name of that
Chads, the hanging
Chads? Yeah, I learned about the Chads. I was like, oh my god, that's the craziest thing ever, Chads. That's why he lost, because of Chads.
The hanging Chads. So what I'm saying is that there needs to be an opportunity for us to go back to some real paper, because I don't know that the digital is really going to be our friend in the midterms, to be honest.
No.
But
anyway, back to 688.
Because that's what they were fighting for. You know what I'm saying? And so where we are today,
what we have today that were just taken away yesterday. So anyway, great. Good. There's that brightness. Yeah, you hit something.
Who, me?
Yeah. Now the light came on.
Oh, I don't even know what I did. Okay.
I think she just leaned in a little closer.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. The light came in. All right. You good?
All right. Usually they tell me to lean back, but I guess maybe I'll lean in. Yeah. That whole lean. I know, right? See what I'm saying? Rock away, lean back.
That's how old we are. Rocking away in a rocking chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's close this out. So the women finish the job. They get everything done. Everybody receives the mail. At the end of the movie, Tyler Perry shows that Michelle Obama gives them an award, and the credits are running. I Googled and tried to find something, because I was like, these women had to be entrepreneurs or something later on. It's as if they did all this and they just evaporated into thin air. And so any hate that I was going to give the film, that's what was missing. Normally you have like one or two, like, hey, they went on to do this or they went on to do that. And you had none of that. And I guess I Googled all over the place these women, and there was just nothing. So it's as if they did their job and they said bye, and just no one cared about them anymore, which was really
back
sad.
to civilian life.
Yeah, no, but I'm even a business, like no one had any data whatsoever about any of these women when they were done with it. So that just blew my mind. Normally you find out like the Tuskegee Airmen, like, hey, this guy went on to do this, this guy went on to do that, but it was like black women. Well, hey, thank you for the job, thank you for your service, have a good day. And so that was just disappointing for me, that this is an amazing story, and yet they didn't put time into really like archiving like what these women did later on.
So I have the little miracle story for you. There was a miracle story that took place with Tyler Perry and Kerry Washington.
Okay.
So somebody, I can't remember how exactly it goes, but somebody said, oh, you're looking for some authentic World War II trunk, was it World War II, whatever, trunks right? So he's like, oh, I bought one at an auction however long ago. He brings it in. How about it was Charity Adams' trunk?
Get out of here.
Positively the truth. Look it up.
That's crazy.
It was Charity Adams' trunk. And so Kerry Washington was like, at that moment, she knew exactly that she was doing the exact right thing.
That would scare the living daylights out of me. Honestly, that would bug me out.
So
yeah, now the pressure is I really gotta knock this roll out of the park. The girl, shit, we gotta. All right, damn. All right. Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah, so there we are. So yeah, so the magic still happens in Hollywood.
Anything anyone else wants to add to the film?
Yes, there were some other great performances. I thought Greg Sulkin did a great job, and I love the fact that he's been like a strong advocate for his heritage as a Jewish actor, and he got to play a role that was like directly in line with that. So I thought that was beautiful. And all of the other ladies that played alongside Ebony did a stellar job. So I think we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge them. So I think we have to give them a shout out for their performances. And overall, I just thought it was a phenomenal film, and I hope everyone takes the time out to watch it. And I think we need to continue to tell these stories. It reminds me of when Hidden Figures came out and we got to hear the story of these phenomenal, strong, intelligent, powerful Black women whose stories have been buried by history. We need to continue to dig them up and cement them so that they can never be forgotten. So I'm extremely, extremely happy that Tyler Perry produced this film.
He's a good period piece person. That's his like sweet spot. I really like. He does. There was that love story about the old soldier down the South. That was a good one. That was a good film. You know, so
I forgot about that. That was
it was a good film. I interviewed him for that, so it was like really good. He really knows what to do, and the music's right, and the scenes are just right. So that's his sweet spot. Other than Madea. Which again, I've never seen a Madea film in my life.
Not one.
Not one.
It's my daughter's like little go-to, like when she comes home from school.
I'm like, I tried one day, and I was like, "Ooh, Lord."
They're all very cliche. But for me, I want to also jump in. I don't know the gentleman's name who played her love interest, the Jewish young man. But the scene when she was in the at the cemetery and she found his headstone.
Greg Sulkin played
Greg Sulkin. When that scene was very, very gut wrenching for me. Like just when she got to the point where she, but it was also like closure for her. So, and it was a full circle moment when she found, and then when the ladies went to town deciding that they were going to find the letters that he had written her, and they were able to find them. So, yeah.
I was shocked she was actually able to go there. As a Black officer, I was shocked they even let her, like, I in my mind, everything is kind of like, this is white, this is Black. We're not mixing the bodies. I don't care what they die together. This is this section here, and you can't go there. I'm sorry. You're sitting on, you're walking on soil that is hollow ground, and you can't touch that, Right. But I'm glad, that is a great scene in the film. But in my mind, sometimes I'm like, you were able to do that? I don't know if that goes over so well. But
it's probably from a true account. So
yeah.
Who can say?
And D said they're live from New York and they enjoyed learning the history. So shout out to D.
Oh,
what up, D? Thank you for watching. Anyway, thank you guys. Hey, you know what? Since Odette's here, I want you to enjoy this moment with us. This is a part of the show where we ask Rob, what would he give the film? and Rob usually does an amazing. You know what? I'm just gonna let you see for yourself. Rob,
listen, Ro, we keep picking films that are good, and I'm extremely proud that this film was made. I do think that there were a few holes in it where the story could have, it jumped in time, but I think it had to jump in time.
Fast forward quick. They were like, boom, boom.
Fast forward very quick from when they were explaining how they figure out who the mail is sorted to, and then they were done. So I think it skipped time a little bit. I don't want to dock it. Ro hates when I give films a 10 out of 10.
No, I don't. Listen, there's no hate. Listen, Rob, I love when you're just honest and you're smiling. You're like, you know what, Ro? This gives another 10 out of 10. I love
I'm gonna give
that.
it a good thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah, you're not getting no thumbs. Oh, there he is. There he is. Look at Apple.
I don't know if I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, Ro, but let me give it some fireworks if it'll pop up. But it does get, it gets I'm gonna give it like a 8.5. I just
8.5.
Wow.
I just
wow.
out of 10. I just wish it would. I felt like there was a little bit more story that could have been told. It was such a beautiful story. I just wanted a little bit more meat.
I'm going to introduce you to the TikTok generation. They can't make it any longer, friend. That's the problem.
Oh, I know, and we talked about this before. It's interesting that we can even sit through an 1.5 to 2 hour film because the TikTok generation has made everything 2 seconds or 20 seconds. They can't sit longer than that.
This new thing with like music that's a minute, like songs that are a minute and 45 seconds. I'm like, that's not a song. What is that?
But they sat through 3 hours of Wicked, so they could have sat through a little bit more.
Bro, this age, if your movie isn't under 2.5, I can't do it. I have to listen to previews. Wicked, I had a good nap.
Did you all do Wicked?
Yeah, we did a good nap. That was the best nap I had in a long time. That was a good.
Wicked?
I took a 5-minute nap in Wicked.
See, I told you. See,
it was long. It was long. Okay, I went to school with my daughter, and it was long. But so I'm okay. It's a whole nother movie, but I'm again coming for the green lady who was really a black lady because she was representative of the sisterhood and what we have to deal with in the world.
Ariana Grande representing all the Karens in the world. Yep.
Listen, I only fell asleep for 5 minutes when they got to Oz. I said,
and then they give her a broom like, "Hey, girl, look what you got now. You a bad." Anyway, sorry.
Wasn't it the broom came to life with the spell? That's what happened.
Again, there was some racist stuff with that. I'm just saying, here, girl. It's like, here's your shotgun. Go kill the neighborhood. Like, I was like, what are we doing?
She couldn't fly on a horse. What was she gonna fly on? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Anyway, can't wait for part 2. Can't wait to do it.
I'm ready. You gonna join us for part 2?
I certainly will.
Yes. We would love to have you back again. Maybe do once a month with you, get you in here. So love to have you.
I'd be honored. I promise I'll even break out the other light kit because I think one of my bulbs blew in the up top light is what happened. But so
ladies and gentlemen, she's in a basement somewhere.
I'm not. It's surprisingly
gorgeous rose display behind her. She ain't in no basement.
Thank you. I tried to do all the things, and I don't know. The lighting is just not my friend today. I think we blew a bulb. It looks like one went dark up there. But anyway, I'm gonna get the good lights like y'all got.
Good. There you go. I'll send you $20.
You probably owe her more than that.
No, I asked her. I gave her that money. I get every time I got paid. I gave her.
Yes, you paid me.
It's like if I want to borrow again next week, I gotta pay it off. I can't keep borrowing.
It was like a rolling 20.
Yeah, it was a rolling 20. Sometimes I was like, listen.
And she got no interest on that rolling 20.
He's trying to get me interest.
Bro, for interest.
I love it.
Different time.
That's all right.
We should have invested
Thanks for having my back. Thanks for having my back.
We should have invested back then. We would have met.
Yo, when I sit there looking, don't even get the ETFs when they were like, anyway, it's crazy. We were there when
I should have put
the Dow was at
who's the Jewish guy who used to work next door to me with the glasses?
Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about. I can JP.
JP, yeah. We should have invested with him. Like, JP, give us some. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So the Dow was like below 10. So now the Dow is like what, like 42 or something like that. 42,000. I remember when the Dow hit 10.
10, Rob. 10.
Right. Yeah, we were still doing paper trading on the trading.
Didn't know anything. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep unfolding these things.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for the time. This has been Rewind with Ro and Rob and Odette, and nice little family together.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, tuning in. See you next week. I don't know what we're gonna do. There's some stuff coming out. Oh, no, that was bad.
What?
I've seen some bad films lately. I don't want to watch. Okay.
The one you sent me the thing.
Oh, the Palmer one. That was tough.
I heard.
Yeah,
I already heard. That's why I was like, "Ooh, I'm glad."
Yeah, that was tough.
That
That was. I almost wanted to fight you through the film, Rob, for making me see that. That was
really.
Rob,
You didn't like it?
It made up for the awfulness in the beginning, but the beginning is tough. It's tough. It's like
So-
every cliche, like it's like a Bad Babs.
Well, this is Issa Rae, Keke Palmer.
It's like house party. Yeah, it was very.
Somebody else told me it was trying to be like Friday.
Yeah, it was very ghetto-ish.
Ghetto?
Yeah. I can't listen. It reminded me. I apologize right now. It reminded me of my sister. And yep. I said it. And I couldn't. Like we be better, do better. Come on. So, anyway, and then I got past that.
We're all like, I'm not saying anything.
And then I got past that, and then I was able to watch the rest of the film. But the first half an hour, it was tough. I was like, oh.
So one of them days you don't want to do.
I can do it. I already saw it. I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm just going to destroy the living daylights out of it. But I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, you just let me
I
know.
will be minding my business, and so y'all let me know when you want me to, because I will not be partaking of that particular.
She was like, I don't. I sent her that in a text. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna pass on that.
Right, I was like, I'm gonna pass on that.
That was the quickest pass I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna be able to make that.
Because a friend of mine had already seen it. She was like, I was just trying to support, and she was like, girl, I was like, see, thank you for letting me know.
Oh,
They did like a Debo character. Yeah, it was very. It was awesome.
Well, just let me know. I mean, there's other options. There's other options. You let me know what you want to do.
We live in a time when there are other options.
Yes. All right. Well, that's our time, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Odette.